Hello everybody, let's talk third-person perspective. Well, I read many of your comments in my previous video, which you can see here at the top right corner. Many of you wanted third-person perspective. Do you think that eventually, maybe on release date, or maybe in a future patch, we're going to see a third-person perspective patch, so we'll be able to switch between first-person perspective and third-person one? Well, many have doubts because it seemed like that CD Projekt Red already decided that the first person will be it because they remove, except from driving cars, third person perspective even from the cutscene. So everything is going to be, most of the things will be in first person perspective. Now, I've seen so many comments of people complaining about this that I have a feeling that eventually maybe we're going to see third person perspective. So many players actually want this. So why they actually want third person perspective? I mean, come on. We can play in first person. What's the problem? Well, many players have problem with this. Now, one of the main issues that players have with this is that this game has tons of character customization options. You have tons of options to customize your character when it comes to the body features. You also have the option to wear different cybernetics gear, which actually replace parts of your body, and this looks really cool. There are so many variations, and people just want to see themselves. You get a new gear. You want to see your character as you play during the gameplay itself, rather just at certain points during the game, maybe by just watching a mirror, or maybe just seeing yourself in shooting through a car and see your cybernetic arm shooting through a car when you are in a car chase, for example. Now, aside from this, many players actually said that they suffer from motion sickness when playing first-person perspective games. But again, there are many games that people play in first-person perspective, so I don't think this will be the reason for CD Projekt Red to consider bringing third-person perspective. I think the main reason is what most people actually suggested, that they just want to enjoy playing and seeing themselves with the new cyberware they can actually obtain. Maybe different skin and who knows what out there that we haven't seen just yet. But the thing is that the look is very important. Imagine sharing gameplay with other people and you want others to see actually your status in the game. Well, if you just play in first person perspective, we're probably going to see one cyberware when it comes to your hand, but definitely most of the body you won't be able to see. So now I have to admit that I didn't expect so many players to be so frustrated about it. I mean, you wrote so many comments and people just show their frustration, just so angry about this. Some actually decide not to buy the game. Although I don't know where some people say they buy and just showing the frustration and then eventually they will buy it. But I think that there are quite a few people who will actually just skip the game altogether because just think it's kind of useless when they want to enjoy the entire gameplay experience in third-person perspective and seeing themselves how they progress, see the character, feel proud of their achievements, and the game just won't allow this. Now, one of the questions that still remains is whether it's very simple just to go and change a few lines of code and just enable third-person perspective. Well, I don't think so. When designing a game around a certain perspective, there are probably reasons for this. For example, allow people to to surprise the player where they can't actually use the third-person perspective camera, which is positioned usually slightly back or above the player to surprise them with certain enemies or maybe traps, and sometimes you need to consider that the camera might collide with certain elements in the scene. For example, although it can be solved, but just kind of making as part of the scene that collides with the camera semi-transparent, which is done in many games. So this is a way to actually work around this. Well, it's not like there are not other games that actually change the perspective. There are, and it actually work quite well, and people enjoy it. Thing is where there is kind of an advantage when you are using third-person perspective versus first-person perspective, where the developer actually doesn't want you to have this advantage. They want to dictate the gameplay based on a certain perspective where they designed the game to be played. And if they give you the option in a future patch to do this, well, we're probably going to take time to go over all the things and make sure that it kind of fits the gameplay experience that the developer wants you to play the game. But I think the answer will be revealed once we actually play the game and see this ourselves. So I mean, for me, it's not a problem. I'm using to play first-person games and I enjoy them, so I don't feel any motion sickness personally. But I do understand. By the way, sometimes there are some times where I actually do, but it's very, subtle, and most of the time I don't. But I can understand what you're talking about because it happens to be, once in a while. But if you experience the same thing over and over, I can definitely understand why this is something that will make want not to actually play the game. Yeah, so this is it. There's no word about any patch coming, and I don't know how easy it is for CD Projekt Red to actually just enable this in a future patch if they see there's a great demand for it. If they already see that many people actually complaining about it on social media. Let's wait and see. Right now, from what we know, it's going to be only in first-person perspective, and there won't be an option to change it. Again, in some places in the game, like like as I said, like driving in a car, you will be able to see the character in the third-person perspective. But I think that's it, right? I mean, or again, if you're gonna see yourself in front of the mirror, you're gonna see your character as well. But other than this, probably there won't be any other ways you can actually really show your character with all your news and amazing cyberware when playing the game, and just sharing gameplay, for example, on YouTube. So that's it. Again, if I'm disappointing to some degree, well, I haven't thought about it before until I read so many people complaining about it, because I didn't see it as a big deal. But your comments make me think about things, and I can definitely again understand where this is coming from, and hopefully, in the future patch, we'll have the option to play in third-person perspective. The thing is, I don't think they will make the change right now. The game is about to be released in a few days. Just changing this, but I don't know. Maybe you think they just spend this time all along to change the game to work also in third-person perspective. That's why the delay. I don't think so. They probably would announce this one quite a long time ago, right? I don't think so. But again, we need to wait and see. Who knows? Maybe it'll be a surprise close to launch date. So again, thanks for watching. Share with me your opinion about the third-person perspective, really why you really hate this, or if you don't care at all, just fine with having first-person perspective, and that's it. So again, I see you in the comments below. Let's discuss it, and consider subscribing to my channel and give this one a like. I see you on the next video. Thanks for watching, everyone. Cheers. Bye-bye.